Hi, this is Mrs. Scharnhorst, and I'm going to demonstrate the Flip Your Lid lab for BHS students who missed the lab in class for whatever reason. So in this lab, we will compare several physical properties of four solids as the basis of an examination of the intermolecular forces holding the molecules together. When I say together, I mean holding the molecules to each other, not the intramolecular covalent bonds holding the atoms together within the molecules. So the four substances we're going to be looking at are iodine, paraffin, sucrose, and salt. And you can see those labeled here. You might want to go ahead on your lab paper and label them so that you know iodine's number 1, paraffin's 2, sucrose is 3, and salt is 4, because we're going to use those numbers throughout the lab. We will be using a hot plate to determine the order in which they melt. We will test solubility in distilled water, and we're going to test conductivity in distilled water. So you can see I've got a chem plate here. I've got a conductivity tester. I've got my soup can lid. I've got a couple of toothpicks to stir the solids in the water to see if they dissolve. I've got a squeeze bottle of distilled water. I've got a beaker to rinse things off. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got a soup can lid that I've divided into 4 quadrants. I've numbered them and added the samples. In quadrant 1, you can see the pieces of iodine. Quadrant 2 is the paraffin, 3 is the sucrose, and 4 is the salt. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to set this on top of a hot plate, turn the hot plate to number 5, and we're going to watch and see what happens. Okay, so I just turned the hot plate on. Oh, that's in pretty good focus. So you can see we're going to watch and wait. Now, can you see the purple vapor coming off the iodine? So that pretty much happened instantaneously. Next, you can see that number 2 quadrant, the paraffin has melted. So now we're just going to have to wait and see which melts next, the sucrose or the salt. And I'm going to stop and start this throughout the procedure so that you don't have to sit here and watch this melt for 5 minutes. As you can see, the sucrose is starting to melt. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off now because the 4th solid will not melt. Okay, so now I've got the chem plate and I've got our solids in each in their own well. So I'm going to add some distilled water. We will stir them with a toothpick and see which dissolve, if any. And hopefully you can see this. So, oops. As you can see, not much happening to the iodine. The sugar looks completely dissolved. The paraffin is just floating on top. And the salt looks to be dissolving. I'm going to stir for a minute and we will wait and see. Okay, so let me see if I can refocus a little bit. So iodine has not dissolved. Sucrose has dissolved. Paraffin has not dissolved. Salt has dissolved. So next we're going to test the conductivity of each one of these solutions. So I've got my conductivity tester and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and we're going to see what happens. And in between testing, I am rinsing this off with distilled water so that there's no contamination. So iodine solution, you can't see. Iodine solution, no light. Okay. Sugar solution, no light, not conductive. Paraffin, no light, not conductive. And salt, very conductive. Okay, so that is it. You guys can answer the questions on your lab.